Hello everybody, this is Raphael here from XX Raphael Productions, and this video is going to be about the Reverse Flash and his timeline. Now, of course, if you have watched the Flash TV show and you already are aware of how his timeline works, then you can obviously click out of the video, but this is for the people who are still confused about it because his timeline can get very wobbly and also there are stuff about it that don't make sense, but in this video, I hope to clear up some of those misconceptions of that. So, this is going to be about specifically about the Reverse Flash on the TV show. So, we are not going to talk about the comics or anything like that because it is evident that the CW changed up some of Eobard Thawne's history as they were writing his storyline. So, as I discuss his timeline here, I am going to specifically talk about what the TV show itself has given us so far, and I will be including Season 6 in this timeline. And since Season 7's trailer has been released, I thought it was a good idea to make this in the meantime as we wait for the upcoming season of The Flash. So let's go ahead and begin and talk about him in chronological order. To start off, we have Season 2, Episode 11 of The Flash. Now, you may be wondering why I started from here because we saw Reverse Flash all the way back in Season 1. Well, the truth is, this version of Thawne chronologically is much younger than the one that we saw in Season 1 of The Flash, and this is even before he learns Barry's name. So, at this time, we haven't seen his actual origin story, as in his life growing up and everything, but in terms of show appearance and how old Thawne is, this is the first version as far as we are concerned. So here he has no idea who Barry's name even is, and also just discovered what time period the Flash is from. So it is evident that compared to Season 1 Thawne, who is much more knowledgeable, this version of Eobard has yet to figure out anything about the Flash and his history. And as Harry well suggested, that Thawne was protected from Eddie Thawne killing himself back in Season 1, and is able to enact his timeline regardless of what happened in the past. So he was basically protected from the paradox based on him being connected to the negative speed force. Now, Thawne was sent back to the future at the end of the episode, but we haven't seen him since then, so we can assume that he has done battles with Flash in different time periods until the next time when he fights him in the Crisis of 2024, which I will jump right into that right now. The original Crisis on Infinite Earths is one of the most mysterious plot lines in this entire show because in the actual crossover that we got recently with Crisis, not only was the date changed to 2019, but there were many different changes to the article that didn't come true, like Reverse Flash fighting the Flash in this new Crisis did not happen, but in this original 2024 Crisis that Thawne hailed from, we see that in the newspaper that says Flash missing vanishes in Crisis, and I believe that based on what the show has given us so far, it's not really confirmed yet, because they haven't dwelled deep into the original Crisis, but based on what the show has confirmed so far, we can assume that this Thawne is the one that fought Barry around Nora Allen in the past, but before they even time traveled there, they were fighting in the Crisis on Infinite Earths, and it was said that Thawne was leading Shadow Demons, which were Anti-Monitor's, the main villain of Crisis, Anti-Monitor's assassins. They kind of move like Time Wraiths, but kind of more powerful, I guess. I firmly believe that I know that this Thawne is definitely much older than the one that we saw in Season 2, Episode 11, because by this time, he knows Barry's name and enacts the plan to go kill him as a young child, as proven in the Season 1 finale in the first place. So, chronologically, this would come next, basically 2024. It is when Crisis occurs and the Paragons defeat Anti-Monitor the same way, but instead of Earth 90 Flash going missing, it's Earth 1 Flash that goes missing. So basically, our Barry Allen goes missing after saving his younger self and fighting Eobard Thawne and stranding him in the past. Now, once again, the show has not dwelled deep into this storyline. They have given us a version of Crisis that is an altered timeline, so they haven't gotten into the original one, but I firmly believe for now, unless proven otherwise, that this is the second time we will see him in chronological order. So this can get confusing at first, but I will show this later on in the end of the video. Like, I will summarize this up. And let's go ahead, and the next is Season 1. Like, the rest of Season 1 is directly after this. Now, I did say Season 1 was going to come next, but this is also, like, directly before it, Flashpoint. This has occurred as a result of Barry saving his mother back in the Season 2 finale, so after Reverse Flash fights the future Flash in Crisis on Infinite Earths and time travels back to kill Nora Allen, we have the Flash from Season 2, who had recently just defeated Zoom, come back in time and also save his mother from Reverse Flash. So, in chronological order, this is what happens directly after that battle in the past. So, we have Thawne locked up in Flashpoint for a couple of months, as he said in Legends of Tomorrow. But there's not really much to say here, aside from the fact that Barry again released him so that Thawne can correct the timeline back to the original TV show timeline. So let's go ahead and jump right into Season 1. Now this part here, in between Flashpoint and Season 1, this entire part is up to debate, because I know some people are saying that Thawne directly escaped after Flashpoint, but if we look at if we go ahead with that logic, that actually does not make sense, because if Reverse Flash escapes directly after he kills Barry's mother, that means Season 1 never happens, Particle Accelerator never happens, and thus the timeline is still screwed. So the only logical explanation is either a time remnant of Reverse Flash, or Thawne himself reenacted the entire Season 1 events again, and then simply went back to go ahead and bring Barry from the past back to the future in 2016. This serves as Season 3's opening scene, or opening episode, I should say. As you notice that Thawne's beard has been shaved, if you notice, compared to him being locked up in Flashpoint, that means that something did happen in between, and let's assume, for the sake of this video, let's assume that the Season 1 was reenacted exactly the same, except for a few minor differences, that Eobard Thawne is aware of Savitar, and also he constructed the Speed Lab, which is confirmed that by Harry and Jesse from Earth 2 that it was not there in a pre-Flashpoint timeline. So we know that Reverse Flash, as he decided to redo Season 1, he did a couple changes now that he's aware of some things that his previous self was not aware of. So that is it. So just basically the entire Season 1 you watched, save for the fact that he constructed a speed lab while also in that time. So pretty much nothing else is different in Season 1 aside from that. And following directly after Season 1, and also how when Eobard Thawne brought Barry back from the Flashpoint timeline, this is directly where he goes afterwards. It is Season 2 of Legends of Tomorrow. It's a completely different TV show from The Flash, but Reverse Flash goes here chronologically. This is his next event. So, right here, he is trying to avoid the Grim Reaper, aka the Black Flash. Basically, it's Zoom, who has been repurposed as the Speed Force rule enforcer, and he's going to erase Thawne from the timeline as he's a paradox. So the entire season of Legends of Tomorrow, I will summarize it here if you don't want to watch it, but it's the Legends trying to fix the aberrations, and also Thawne is trying to use the Spear of Destiny to rewrite reality so that the Black Flash can stop trying to kill him, because, as I said before, Eddie Thawne killed himself in Season 1, and he is Eobard Thawne's very distant ancestor. So if Thawne is dead, then that means that Eobard cannot exist, and the fact that he exists means he is a paradox, which leads to the Speed Force sending the Black Flash, aka Zoom, to go ahead and try to erase him from existence. This is also directly before the Earth X crossover that happens around Season 4 of The Flash. The reason why we know this is because he also mentions Season 1's events, like in Legends of Tomorrow he mentions Cisco and Caitlin, which means this is directly after repeating the Season 1 events and also correcting the timeline from Barry's mistake. But let's go ahead and talk about the ending of the Legends, which is the Black Flash erasing Thawne. We can infer that Thawne was indeed erased, but there were many time remnants created prior to this, so it is not really impossible. Like, it's actually most likely that one of the time remnants escaped the battle before he got erased as well. But let's go ahead and jump right into Earth X, because that is probably where it leads straight into the crossover. So as I was saying earlier, this is the Earth X crossover. Now, Eobard's overall timeline here gets confusing because here we see he has Dr. Wells' face, which could imply that he was either from Season 1 or from the Legends of Tomorrow when one of his time remnants had escaped. But either way, this version of Thawne mentions Season 1's events and also references Legends in some parts, so we know that chronologically this comes directly after both. Now, how long before is what's uncertain, but we know that he had the time to go ahead and put on Wells' face again, so it could be possible that he went to a different Earth, killed that version of Harrison Wells to put on his face just to spite Barry once again, as Barry himself finds that personal, and that's what Thawne wants to achieve. But again, that is mostly speculation, but here we can go ahead and infer that this version of Thawne could be around 50 or so years old at this point, because if you think about it, he could be in his late 30s when he got stuck in the past, and then let's say around 45 years old, because 15 years, and then compared to Season 1 to Season 4, that would be about 3 to 4 years, so he'd be in his late 40s or probably early 50s by now. And obviously, we have Thawne working in Earth X as part of the Führer's goals to kind of like take over the world, I guess. I mean, his motives here are not really as clear, to be honest, but let's just go ahead and say that Barry goes ahead and defeats Thawne in a fight. This is Barry who got significantly boosted from Season 4 Force opening when he escapes the Speed Force, so it is obviously, we know why he beats Thawne here, because Thawne himself, he had probably, well, I mean, Thawne himself is also really quick because he's part of the negative Speed Force, so no matter how fast Barry gets, Thawne also gets faster because that's how the negative Speed Force works. But in this fight, Barry got lucky and overpowered him, but Barry released him, so now we can go ahead and go straight into the Season 5, which is when he gets imprisoned in 2049. So now here we are in Season 5, we are seeing Reverse Flash is in prison, and it is because sometime after Earth X, it is assumed that Reverse Flash time traveled to 2034 for unknown reasons. That is actually 10 years after the Flash vanishes in Crisis, and it is said in this episode, Godspeed episode, which is Season 5, Episode 18, that Reverse Flash was finally apprehended and put in Iron Heights. The reason I put this episode before the prior episodes is because, chronologically, Nora visits Thawne for the first time. This is a flashback episode, basically. It shows Thawne meeting Nora for the so-called first time. Well, Nora is unaware of this because Thawne already knows about her from when Barry and Nora time traveled back to 2015 to get the equipment needed to defeat Cicada in the future. But let's go ahead and say this. So, after Earth X, Thawne went to 2034, got apprehended by other heroes, because you gotta remember, this is 10 years after the Flash vanished, so Barry couldn't have captured Thawne, so it is basically a combination of perhaps the Justice League, Team Flash, and perhaps other police officers that finally apprehended Thawne, as the Flash Museum points out. And here is where he enacts his great plan to escape prison by using Nora as a pawn in his game. So that is basically the entire Season 5. Try to get Nora to destroy DeVoe's satellite, use that shard to hit Orlin Dwyer so that we have a cicada that actually was able to be stopped instead of the other cicada that was never caught, which means Thawne would die in prison because the dagger is dampening his powers. So now that Nora was able to successfully do that, Thawne was able to successfully manipulate events that led to his escape in the Season 5 finale, which is Episode 22. Directly after this, we lead to Season 6. And now at last, we are here at Season 6. This is the oldest Reverse Flash so far. This version of Thawne was not in Crisis because the 2019 Crisis had some significant changes to it. So after the Crisis, Thawne was reduced to a spectral type of state, which he possessed Nash Wells. And after a long and difficult exorcism, Barry and the others were able to expel Reverse Flash from Nash's body, and he was released into the air as negative tachyons. So far, this is the last we've seen of Thawne, and it is confirmed that there was supposed to be a cliffhanger of Reverse Flash in Season 6, but due to the coronavirus crisis, they cut it short. So let's go ahead and say this. Now, this version of Thawne, so far we don't know whether he will regain his original physical body or if he will have to resort to possessing every time now from this point on. But obviously they have to still show the version of Barry that went back to fight Reverse Flash around Nora Allen, so definitely this is not the last we've seen of Thawne, but as of right now, this is where his timeline ends so far. This is the oldest version of Reverse Flash. And that is all so far of Reverse Flash, so that is his complete timeline from Season 1, Season 2, all the way up to Season 6. If you have any extra questions, just feel free to comment in the comments down below. And also, you can add me on Skype as well if you want to talk more in depth about this whole topic. I also suggest some more videos that you want me to make in the future. Hopefully this helped you out in trying to understand Reverse Flash's confusing timeline, because I totally understand, because also trying to piece all these together is kind of like nails on a chalkboard because of how convoluted the timeline of Thawne has become because of all of the time traveling going on. So hopefully this helped clear up some stuff, and I will see you guys in my next video.